Hello, Internet! Welcome to 2.5 Brains. This is the latest episode of the Amazing Race recap, recapping the Amazing Race Season 32, Episode 11. The penultimate, as it turns out, penultimate episode of this season. We're going to break it all down, talk all about it. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Subscribe right down the screen, comment, share the post, tell your friends. Let's get this video out there, let everybody know who's into the show, that we're talking about it, and have them join the discussion. You can tweet me directly, Yo Grab a Gabba. You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com/PaperMoreProductions. You can email the show, papermoreproductions@gmail.com, and let us know what you think. Give us feedback, something to read on the air. We'd love to do that. Let's go ahead. This shouldn't be too long here. There's only a few things to talk about and kind of wrap up the Final Four and get into the Final Three, and then of course the power rankings of that, and talk about why the team that lost this week lost. Let's go ahead and bring in our co-host, the co-pilot of this off the freaking rails train, Jessica. Hello, Jessica.
Hello. I got at your computer.
Yeah, it's technically your computer. So, Jessica, how do people find you on Twitter?
Just th20.
Just th20, great. Let's. You got any initial thoughts? You want to just get started and dive in here?
Just dive right in.
Let's dive right in. So we went ahead and start off going from where to where?
Cambodia to Manila.
Manila in the Philippines. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, tell me about this episode. What happened?
Basically, instead of doing any kind of detours or whatever, they did a race around Manila, and I guess just did different tasks around to get to the end.
Yeah, it was a city race or a city street, whatever they called it. But it was cool because they had a little tracker at each task of where each team was and what position they were in.
Yeah.
They said this would be the final second last leg, and the last team to check in would be eliminated, and we go from 4 to 3. That's what they said. So they basically, as soon as they arrived all at the same time. Again, all sat in the same spot. They met with Phil right away. And then they had to race around, basically lap around the city, basically doing different tasks, and meet back to that spot at the pit stop.
Yeah.
Cool. What was the first thing they did?
Traffic flow. So, I remember what the vehicle is called, but they each had
The
to get into
bus.
what was it?
It's basically a bus.
Yeah, it was their own. Each had a bus. They have to drive to a certain spot where there was a guy in the middle of the street that was directing traffic. He had clues. You had to reach out as the bus was passing by him to have him hand you a clue.
Yeah.
Or next step.
Yeah, and you basically had to get in the right lane, the correct lane in traffic, and then be able to reach out to the driver. A lot of times they missed them, and they were already in the wrong lane, and they went past. 2 teams did that and had to circle back around.
Yeah.
What was next after that?
Next was heel race. So everybody had to put on high heels and run a certain distance in a race. Basically a lap around for their next spot.
Yeah, so they run up, 40 yards over, and then run back around the other way. They were wearing high heels. So, and there's only one woman left in the race at this point, so she did okay.
Yeah.
The rest of them not so much.
Well, some actually did okay.
Well, some did better than they should have.
Some
let's
did
say.
better than others.
And then after that, they got their next clue, and I told them to do what?
They had to find dancing lions. So it was I guess you call the Chinese Oriental lions that they were dancing. They had to find the right one that would have a clue in its mouth and basically reach in to grab one. They had to find the right one because there were a bunch of them that did not have clues.
Yeah, it was kind of the Chinese New Year type thing. Was that sort of, like the dancing, whatever, blue, yet red, lion, dragon looking thing.
Right.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. They had to search for that, and it was cool because they kept showing, okay, this team has got there first, and I think the first one, Hung and Chi and Will and James were last, and then Will and James caught up, and then Gary and D'Angelo were first. And there was a lot of lead changes. This one, the different challenges. It wasn't anybody who was first and then ran the whole table there. There's a lot of switching spots.
Right.
After they found the clue, what did that clue tell them to do?
That was Heyday. So basically, they had to go in a spot in the park, I think it was, They had to find a horse and buggy, and they had to get the bucket, not the poop bucket, a bucket to get feed. They basically had to make the horses feed the horse for their next clue.
Yep. So they find 3 different items. They find molasses, corn, and then hay or grass or whatever it was. They had to feed that to the horse, and once the horse was fed, they eat the next clue.
Yes.
Cool. And Will and James, the whole poop thing. Will and James got the poop bucket first.
Yes.
And like, oh no, that's not it. That's the poop bucket.
Yeah.
Cool. After they got the heyday clue, what was next?
Musical finale challenge.
Yeah, so that one was. They usually do this one like the last challenge of the season, where you kind of have to put an order in which you found. You just went to different states or or countries or whatever, different cities, and you use their flag to put them in order in which they did it. Well, hashtag Read Your Clue came up again. What happened with this challenge? What was like the whole idea of it?
So what they had to do was listen for the songs that the band was playing and find the flags that it corresponded to for what country they were in, but they had to put it in order of when they did it in the race, not how they were playing it in the band at that time.
Correct. So it was that got a little bit confusing for some of the teams, but basically they're playing a jingle, and the jingle was supposed to correspond with the country they're in, and then they had to take the musical instrument that had the flag, instrument case that had the flag on it, and put it in the order. And there's only 4 of them, and a lot of teams were hearing it because they played these 4 songs. They put them in those order. They couldn't get it right, but that wasn't what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean some weren't even getting the right flags either, but
right,
yeah,
right. And then you heard, and then Will and James started it, and Hung and Chi went back and it was hashtag Read Your Clue. They realized, they're just playing these songs in any order. We have to put them in the order in which we heard them on the race. So basically, the leg of the race that corresponds to that with that country, and then they're put together. But there was an issue. They had trouble getting it together, getting in the order, remembering what to do. So what ended up happening?
Well, the alliance of 3 decided to work together to try and figure it out. They were working together, then they realized that they did it wrong, and then the 3 of them got through it. Gary and D'Angelo realized that they were all working together, got extremely angry, which I don't blame them, and just gave up and took their penalty.
Took our penalty because they couldn't figure it out. And so the thing is,
the funny thing is, though, they had 3 right their first try. If they would have figured out that one and kept the rest, they would have gotten through without anything.
Yep. They didn't know. They basically were guessing. They almost guessed right the first time.
Yep.
And then had they known, these ones are right, this one's wrong, then they would have had it. But the person, of course, answering the question and say what was right, what was wrong. They just,
right.
That was it. And they actually, the 3 of them ended up working together. D'Angelo was asking a lot for, what do you guys think? Do you want to work together? Want to try to figure this out together? And they didn't want to work with them. They were shunning them, basically. And then the 3 end up working. The 3 in the actual alliance, I guess, and they're a little offended that Gary and D'Angelo were a little offended that they weren't actually included in that alliance. I thought they should have been. They thought they're still part of. They said that that there was they were told there would be no more alliance after 5, and now there is, and they're not in it.
Right.
So they were definitely put off by that, but the 3 decided they're all going to kind of they knew what 2 of them were going to be, so they're going to kind of keep guessing every combination until they found it, and then they still didn't get it until they reread their clue and they realized, we're putting them in the wrong order. We have a lot of them right, it's just in the wrong order, and they got it through and we're good to go. Of course, Madison and Riley guessed correctly for the first time, or first, after they would probably do it for a couple hours, honestly.
Yeah.
So Madison and Riley get there, and then Hung and Chi right away, and Will and James right away, and so on and so forth. So, the 3 of them got there. Gary and D'Angelo realized at that point that those 3 teams were colluding with each other, and they, unless they could guess it right, they weren't gonna have a shot. And they didn't. The 3 teams all got their clues left. Gary and D'Angelo decided they were going to take the 2-hour penalty, and then once the 2 hours were up, they had their clue, got to go to the end. But it was too late.
Yes, it was.
Anything else? Or we're going to talk about the...
We can talk about...
Okay.
Them.
So, let's talk about why Gary and D'Angelo lost then. This is maybe the most important part of the show here. So, the most meat of it, I guess. What happened? What went wrong with Gary and D'Angelo?
They weren't included on the alliance. mean, that's basically the only reason that everybody passed through to the next spot, because separate they weren't figuring it out. Together they all got through it together, and they were left out of it. They couldn't do that one on their own. They did struggle with other ones, but they were a little too salty. Deandra was a little too salty when they went to the end, when they saw Phil at the end.
Yeah.
It sucks. I feel for them. It made me angry too how they all work together when you're just picking your people that you want to beat, I guess, but you're picking all good people, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I guess if you're gonna lose, you want to lose somebody you like rather than lose to somebody you don't like, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was very, very irritating for me. I mean, you're working together on this. At some point, you gotta go, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this season became the most predictable season in the Amazing Race history. I mean, we still know who's to win. Any of those three teams could win, I guess. But any of the three teams could win. But, I mean, there was a alliance of 5, and they're the final 5. There's a alliance of 3, and they're the final 3. Like, come on. It's just, it's outrageous and ridiculous.
Yep. It took all the work out of it, even doing the game.
Right. No, for sure.
At the end, you're all going to work together and just get each other through anyways.
Right.
So what does it matter?
Right. So, basically, there's 3 teams working together, and that's it. And those 3 teams, one knows how to do it. Well, now all 3 know how to do it.
Right.
You're moving your entire block, to the end. I mean, Gary and D'Angelo should have probably. But again, I mean, you look at it. I give the credit on this to Riley Madison. I think they have the idea of I think they knew they were a threat, and they told everybody else we're going to form an alliance. We all get to the end together. And then they formed an alliance inside that. I think Gary and D'Angelo thought they were still part of the alliance, and they said, well, we're picking out the one that's not really the most part of it, so they took out Ashwar and Parna. Yeah. Had they known that this alliance was going to crumble and they weren't going to be part of it, they should have taken out Hung and Chi or Will and James.
Right, 100%.
100%. Mm-hmm. But they didn't know, they didn't really, they were duped. They had the rug pulled over, the wool pulled over, and and it was unfortunate. They had things they weren't great at. Memory clearly is one of them. Reading the clue, that attention to detail was a big part of it. They didn't really fight too much. They got along pretty well, but attention to detail, reading your clue, and again, memory did them wrong, and then ultimately trust. You can't play this game and just trust right to the end. You can't. You can't do that anywhere. You can't put all your faith in anybody ever.
Right.
They did, and they got burned big time. They were held about. I mean, do you want to kind of talk quickly about? You said you mentioned at the end when they got eliminated, what kind of happened there? It was pretty ugly.
Yeah. No. What? Phil asked them if they had a good time, and D'Angelo said flat out no.
Yeah.
He said he didn't need the money or anything like that, but Gary said he had a great time and good experience, and he knows D'Angelo will say the same when they talk about it, but he was just so angry about what happened, and I get it, but it's not really what you want to show as yourself on TV at that point, especially because you're angry about it. I mean, error that you were irritated about that. Like, if you're going to say that you didn't have fun, I guess explain that part, unless they just didn't show it, but I mean, I feel like I would say I was just mad how the top 3 teams got through because they all worked together instead of doing it all on their own.
Yeah, and and he was definitely angry, and I get that, and he was trying to get errors is his dirty laundry. That's just the way I look at it. It was a bad way to end.
Yes.
Bad way to end your run. You had fun. You were I'm probably a fan favorite. I would assume he was our winner pick. We liked them, and he said he was just angry and upset and. And that come out in not the best way. And it was bad look to say I could have paid for all this myself and gone on vacation to all these places,
right.
And I wouldn't have had to deal with the BS of the race.
Well, why did you do it in the first place?
Right.
That's why he was just angry. Yeah. I mean, obviously he did it because he wanted the experience of doing that race and with Gary and everything, but he was just so mad that he couldn't see past it.
Yeah, and it's a bad look.
An excuse.
It's a bad look. For sure, that's definitely disappointing to see somebody kind of go out that way.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when that I love to hear their exit interview, and I'm sure he'll be months later, a year later, talking about yeah, it was a good time, we had fun, and it was just I was mad at the people, and like I said, I think we mentioned in the last video that I had a feeling there's gonna be some angry people, some salty people who were and granted he was saying Aparna and Ashwari, get over it, it's the race, and then meanwhile he's angry that he's getting the same treatment, so. It's exactly, a little different.
Though. I mean, they U-turned them.
Yeah, which is part of the game. It's an element of the game.
Part of the game, but people working together to get to the end, not usually part of the game. When you're at that point, I've never seen it in any of the other ones that we've watched. People working together get the final three.
And I don't Well, I never. I don't think that's ever happened before. I can't imagine.
Probably not.
And it's one of those things too for me where. If you're gonna do that, if you're gonna work together, I mean, why were they so down on Gary and D'Angelo? I mean, I get it if they're a threat, but I mean, we've been saying for how long? They're the fourth best team in that 5. Mm-hmm. They're the fourth best team in that 4. Mm-hmm. So why are you you just don't like them for some reason? I haven't seen that. I mean, I guess maybe because they have money, maybe.
I
but
don't know. It's because they kept saying that they would take, but you guys were offering it up. So why can you keep saying that they were taking it when you were helping them?
And like I said, and when they got to that roadblock first, or that U-turn first, they could have U-turned Madison and Riley right there.
Yeah, they probably should have.
And they probably should have. Mm-hmm. But they didn't want to do that. That's their alliance. They're trying to be stick to the plan.
Stand up, guys.
Right.
Stick to what they say.
Right. They're trying to
other people.
Right. And in that and so I don't understand. They said there's 3 teams here and 1 that's not, and I think Will said, "Oh, thank God they're not here."
Yeah.
It's like, well, I must be missing something here. I don't understand. Maybe I'm biased. I like them, but and I was rooting for them because they were. I like to see. You like to see the team on top get knocked off. Mm-hmm. And then the evil empire get taken down. But it didn't happen in this case. And it's disappointing. But I think they were a victim of a few things. And one of it was their own selves. I mean, they should have played. They should have played better. Mm-hmm. They should have. Gotten along, and they should have flipped another alliance when they had a chance. I think there so many teams were playing it so safe this season. Like, we just want to get further. We just want to get to the end.
Yeah, they were playing a little too safe.
It's like you don't. Why get to the end? What's the point of getting to the end? If you're gonna get to the end, just lose. I'd rather get the free vacation. Right, I'd rather go out 5th and get to relax.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, whatever. I think it's there's nothing more irritating in any game show than somebody who's not playing for their own best interest.
Right.
That happens. I mean, that's casting. Like, they do intentionally cast teams who are gonna just be goofy and not play the same game. If everybody plays the same type of game, it gets kind of boring too, I guess. But you have to cast people who think differently. Mm-hmm. But I think the best seasons. And the worst seasons start and end with casting. I really believe that. I think when you're trying to cast, I'm saying you're trying to cast into. It says the beginning of the season. I said my biggest fear of the season is they're casting so many people in so many different categories, just checking boxes.
Yeah.
That you're going to get to the point where these people have to represent that whole entire community instead of being able to play the game. Mm-hmm. You want to give more people an opportunity to win, more people of color an opportunity to win the game. So you're going to cast more people of color. But if they have to represent their entire race, they can't play the game. So they're actually going to do worse when you cast a person to check a box. Cast the best people, make the best season, and from there, the cast will be what they want. Yeah.
Well, it's not saying that there aren't people of color that would be the best people, but you just look for the best people.
Jeremy Collins is one of the best fire players of all time. Mm-hmm. He's awesome, mm-hmm. and he's got a great family and everything, but. He didn't take that on himself. He didn't say, I'm going to go out and support all black people.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to go out with this game because that's what I'm going to do. And he did. Wendell did the same thing. They went out, they played the game to win the game. They didn't play the game to represent their community. Mm-hmm. But when you are archetyping people that, I go back to Krishna from season 38. She was saying, oh, I got to represent, or 39. So I have to represent my community. No, you don't. Go out and win the game. And I think that's I think they've gotten to the point where now we're all just trying to be happy, friendly, kumbaya. Let's all split the money. It's absolutely not. That's not what we're here for. We're here for competition. Competition is still good. We don't need all. We don't need to all share the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the season. You know what I'm saying? Let's just not even play the game. Let's just that happened on Natalie's season of Survivor. They had a challenge and they decided before the challenge who was going to win it. So then they didn't do it. They didn't even try. And just like, if I'm going to play the game, let's just who wins.
Right.
And he got so angry, and he was speaking from the crowd there because that's how the audience was feeling. It's just irritating, and it's frustrating to watch, but it is what it is. Hopefully, maybe they can do something to make this not a thing next season. You can, crush these alliances sooner.
Right.
I don't know. There's got to be something because it was as predictable as you could think, and now we'll see who wins. Because there's 3 teams who I think all really have a shot, but it would be nice to see something other than this 5 picks up everybody else, and then those 3 pick off those everybody else. It was just a fraud march. Anyways, now that that's out, let's just do the final 2 power rankings. Talk about who we think is doing this thing. How do you feel? Are you do that?
Yeah.
Who's number 3?
Hung and Chi.
Yeah, they've really fallen off. They hit their peak. They were climbing. They were really strong week 5, 6, and then they've been on a steady descent since then. I still like to see them win.
Yeah.
They're still a team I like the most. They are the most respectful. They seem to be like the best, the nicest people of the 3 left.
Humble winners.
Humble, right? Yes. All those things. So I would like to see them, but they haven't won a leg since I guess like 3 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
They won 2 of the first 3, I think, and then they didn't have one since. And they've really been on this decline now. Granted, they are flying back first class. They get a nice nap. Get cleaned up.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can recharge for one final last push.
They're going to be in the States. It'll be easier. It's going to be even ground. Again, I guess it was even ground there, but some people had more skills overseas than others.
Yeah.
So now back in the States, it should be better.
They're going to New Orleans. I guess they're finishing at the New Orleans Saints Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun. That's going to be fun. That's going to be the final pit stop.
Yeah.
So that should be fun. I love to see them do it. I said if I had to pick one of the 3, it would definitely be Hung and Chi.
Mm-hmm.
But or Hoochie or Chihu or whatever it is.
Chihu, yeah, I know it's funny.
So I said if I had to pick one, that's who would be. But I don't feel good about that. I feel like they're definitely fading.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They feel like they hit a wall and now they're getting weaker.
Mm.
Number 2.
Will and James.
Yeah, I can see them winning 2. They're
pretty strong.
They're pretty strong. They've been a little bit over the top lately. They've been a little bit kind of like, I can't wait to get to the end. And I don't think winners think like that.
No.
I think winners, like you said, they make the move to try to win the game.
Yeah.
You don't make the move to survive the game.
Yeah.
It's like they say in football, you don't go in the prevent defense because you drop. That being said, you also don't do Greg Williams and do zero cover, blitz the house when you have 18 seconds left in the game. They have 45 yards to go. Stupid idiot. Good thing you got fired, you moron. Jets suck. Jets. Just end the season. So you don't do that either. But you also don't go to prevent defense and let them get 30 yards of play because that's just you're just asking them to lose at that point. So I think the smart thing is to still play your game and try to win, and you have to get to the end to win.
Right.
You gotta not be last, but I think also you don't want to. I mean they're like, I can't wait to get to the end and have fun. That's great, but you're here to win or you're here to have fun.
Right.
Because winning is fun. I still think winning is fun. I mean, winning is still ultimately you get a lot more money for when you win than when you finish second.
You do.
Even though you lose it on tax and every and then let's finish up with our, I guess, team we predict to win, I guess, or the team I think is in the best spot to win at this point. Who is that? Riley Madison. Yeah, I think they have. They've won now 4 legs, 3 in a row. They're hitting their stride at the right spot. Again, they could have a really bad leg. That happens. The final leg is always a doozy. And some teams have really bad final leg, and they just fall apart. Teams who are cruising, there's tons of examples of that. But right now, there's no reason for me to think that anybody else is in a better spot. I mean, they've been cruising right along, hitting their stride, and and they I said before, they have the best body type for this race. They have the best attitude. They don't really they don't really seem to care. And they said that we want to be friends. We want to be friends. I think if they came down to stabbing each one of those people in the back for a chance to win, they would do it. They wouldn't get a second thought. And I think that's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
They were a strong team, and they had to position themselves that hey, we're gonna win. Hey, we're the strong team. But let's all work together. Let's all get to the end together. And I think they pulled the wool over all their eyes because you don't want to go to the end with two other strong teams. That's stupid.
Right.
And I think they knew the only way they're getting to the end is if they have people who are not going to target them, because they would be if you look at on the board who's the first team you're going to target, the big strong dudes. So I think they manipulated this game well.
Yeah.
To get themselves to the end and
how when you turned them or whatever was crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, how nobody took a shot at them the whole time. They're clearly one of the top teams. I mean, Hung and Chi, of course, Will and Jane, all of them. And so them sticking together to get to the end is great. The problem is, for two of those teams, they made a $1 million mistake.
They saved all the yields and everything for all the crappy teams. It makes absolutely no sense.
No, it doesn't. And it's that. And I guess you can look at it as sometimes the threats need to stay together, so that then nobody take because as soon as you take out one threat, then you take the next threat, and so on and so forth, start picking them all off, and you get to the end with 3 loser teams. But I think you gotta. I think Madison Riley will ultimately win this, and I think Hung and Chi and Will James, if they care that they lost, will regret the decision to stick with the 3.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, if I'm Hung and Chi and Will and James, I just figured, oh my gosh, I figured out this final clue. I'm going to run over and tell D'Angelo and Gary right now.
Right.
Or maybe I'll get myself through and I'll head to the pit stop. But I'm telling Gary and D'Angelo right now because they're the 4th best team of the 4. I'm not telling Madison. I want them out.
Right.
And I think that was a mistake for everybody. Granted, maybe they're only in this to get to the end and have a fun experience, have fun. And maybe that's why they're all want to be friends, just so they can have fun.
Yeah.
And that's great, but then don't play the game.
Right.
Just go ask CBS for money to follow you with a camera on your vacation. If that's what you're gonna do at that point. I mean, that's just silly. Don't play a game. There's so many people who love being on the race, love playing these games. For you to go there and not to try to win. So, and who knows? Maybe something crazy can happen. Maybe maybe these guys had the worst leg of their life and they end up getting left in the Philippines, and everybody else is in New Orleans. I don't know, but I think they're cruising right now, and they're definitely cruising altitude for sure. What do you think, Jessica? Put a bow on this. Obviously, we'll talk about the finale a little bit at the end. We won't really go into too much detail with the finale, but we do know for a fact the 33 was in the works. It was shut down. They canceled production, sent the teams home. So they do plan on doing 33. Whether that happens at some point in the near future, it's not currently filmed. It's not currently ready to go. So when the season's over, there will be Amazing Race will be on hiatus as well for a while. So not to your disappointment by that, but that's kind of we'll kind of wrap up next season, this end of the season, next episode, and kind of put a bow on it. But any other kind of thoughts here as we move towards the finale and the end of the season?
Curious just to see how the last episode goes. I don't know. I can't say I'm super excited for it anymore.
No.
It'll be okay, but you're going to play in a game, in a competition, you gotta compete with each other, but that is what it is.
And Riley Madison said, we do our best when we're playing against people we like, and blah, 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 playing against our friends, we do our best.
Do you play for $1 million against your friends? Because I don't do that.
And maybe they do in volleyball, maybe they play against, they have friends, the other volleyball teams they play with, but that's fine, but I think that's all BS. I think he was just saying that just to say it. Mm-hmm. I think it was Riley who said it. I think he was just saying that just to say it, because there's no way that, again, maybe it's the competitive nature of you, but anybody who's smart, if I have a chance to win, to go to the Super Bowl against the worst team in the league, I'm doing that. Mm-hmm. If somehow the team who's 1-15 gets the Super Bowl, and I'm 16-0, I'm gonna win the Super Bowl. That's what I want. I want the worst team. I don't want the best team. Mm-hmm. I want the team. Maybe maybe if you're the Patriots and you win every year and you're like, okay, I want the best team because I want to show them the best team.
Not anymore.
Okay, right. Fine. The Chiefs in 3 years when they've won 2 in a row and they want to show they're the best team still, then maybe they want the best team. But I want to win.
Yeah.
I don't care who I beat. I don't care if I beat the best team or the worst team. It feels sweeter to be the best team, but unless I'm that confident, I'd rather just win.
Right.
So, and I think you're kind of the same boat with that too. And the season really got disappointing when the alliances just became the only thing that had any significance. Really they could have just not filmed the whole season and just said, all right, these 3 teams are going to race around the world.
Right.
I mean, there's no just these 3 teams are competing and doing 12 legs of a race. That's it. Right. That's what they could have just done and say this all the time.
They may take a lot of the surprise out of it because you knew who was going to work together and they weren't going to break it.
Right. So, but we'll see how it goes. 1 week left, and then we'll wrap it up after that and be good to go.
Sounds good.
How do people find you on Twitter?
Just T820.
Yep, just T820. Find me on Twitter. You'll grab a Gabba. Like our page, facebook.com/Pavement Road Productions. Subscribe so you get all the updates. Share the post. Tell your friends. Let everybody know. We can be each other's counselors about the show when it gets to be like it is now. We'd like to share more, especially in the off season. Like to give us more thoughts. I'm going to try to get some more videos out. Not related to really anything, but some kind of stuff's been on my mind, and I might post some of that stuff too. And also, I said email show pavementroadproductions@gmail.com, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com, and like I said, share the post and tell your friends. Other than that, I appreciate everybody's time. Appreciate you, Jessica. It's been a late night, but I appreciate your help. And I think we're good for now. Until next time, stay